Freedom may not mean doing whatever you want. That sounds strange, because we usually imagine freedom as the absence of control. No one tells you where to live, who to love, what to study, what job to take, when to leave, or when to begin again. The more choices you have, the freer your life appears. But this is one of the strangest things about modern life. We may have more choices than almost any generation before us. And yet many people do not feel lighter. They feel more anxious, more hesitant, and more afraid of making the wrong move. Buying a shirt can become a small research project. Choosing a career can feel like choosing an entire future. Posting one sentence online can make you imagine hundreds of invisible people misunderstanding it. Even rest can feel suspicious, as if doing nothing is secretly wasting your life. You seem to have many roads, but every road feels like it is judging you. This may be the hidden trap inside modern freedom. On the surface, freedom means more options. But from the inside, more options can become more pressure. Every choice creates a possible regret. Every possible version of yourself creates another life you failed to live. So people stop choosing, not because there is no road, but because behind every road stands an imagined audience. They are watching to see if your life turns out well. They are watching to see if your choices prove that you were right. Many people think they are chasing freedom, but what they're really chasing is something safer: approval. We want to make a choice, and also make sure no one is disappointed. We want to become ourselves, and also be understood by everyone. We want to leave a life behind, and still have the people inside that life admit that leaving was correct. But if every decision needs someone else's permission before it feels real, is it still your decision? A person can be completely uncontrolled and still not be free, because they may be pushed around by desire, by fear, by comparison, by the eyes of other people. They may appear to be doing exactly what they want, but the wanting itself may have already been trained by the world. You may think you want a larger house, but what you really want is to be seen. You may think you want a higher position, but what you really fear is being looked down on. You may think you want to win, but what you cannot bear is losing to one specific person. So the first question of freedom is not, can I do this? It is, who is wanting this through me? This is why having no limits is not the same as being free. A person with no boundaries may simply be easier for impulse to control. A person who follows every feeling may only be mistaking emotion for identity. A person who refuses every responsibility may eventually lose the weight that makes a choice meaningful. Real freedom often has something to do with limits. To choose one road is to give up other roads. To choose one life is to admit that other lives will not belong to you. To choose one person, one place, one direction, is to accept a form of loss. This is not the opposite of freedom. This is the price of it. Because if a choice costs nothing, it may never truly become yours. People often talk about the courage to be disliked, but that phrase is easy to misunderstand. It does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean ignoring every criticism. It points to a quieter ability. You can hear other people's voices without turning every voice into an order. You can understand why someone misunderstands you without spending your whole life explaining yourself. You can accept that some people will not like you without treating that as proof that you have failed. This sounds simple, but it is difficult because human beings are social animals. For most of our history, being rejected by the group was dangerous. So our brains learned to watch faces, tones, silence, approval, and disappointment. One look can stay in your mind for hours. One misunderstanding can make you rush to prove yourself. One unanswered message can make you question your value. The modern world changed many things, but it did not remove our sensitivity to judgment. It only moved the village into a glowing screen. So freedom today is harder, not because we are always locked in, but because we are always being seen. We begin to live as if life is an interface waiting for feedback: likes, replies, rankings, income, resumes, relationships, bodies, achievements. Each number seems to whisper who we are. But freedom may begin when you realize that these things can describe part of you, but they cannot decide you. Other people's understanding matters, but it is not the license for your existence. Fear will still appear, but it does not have to make the decision. A free person is not someone without fear. A free person can see fear. They can see when it disguises itself as caution, when it disguises itself as reason, when it disguises itself as, I'm just not ready yet. and then they can still choose. With uncertainty, with cost, with the risk of being misunderstood. Most freedom does not look dramatic. It may look like refusing one invitation you never wanted to accept, admitting that a goal was never really yours, stopping the explanation you keep giving to someone who does not want to understand. It may look like no longer continuing a life just to prove that choosing it was not a mistake. These moments look small, but they may be closer to freedom than running away to a place where no one knows your name. Because if you carry the same fear with you, it will be waiting there too. Freedom is not finally pleasing everyone. If everyone else's approval is what allows you to become yourself, then you are still living at someone else's door. Freedom is more like an internal order. You know what you care about. You know what you fear. You know which voices deserve attention and which voices are only noise. You know which responsibilities are yours and which expectations can be returned. You will still have limits. You will still have work, consequences, and people who do not understand you. But you no longer mistake every limit for a cage. And you no longer mistake every desire for yourself. Maybe this is what freedom means. Not doing whatever you want, but finally knowing what can no longer live your life for you.